Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome here to a beautiful sunny day at the Allen Sugarman Sports Complex in Fort Lee, New Jersey, the backdrop for the North 1 Group 3 sectional quarterfinals, as it's a matchup featuring the 11th seed in the bracket, the Roxbury Gales, taking on the 3rd seed in the Fort Lee Bridgman. Hello, everybody. I'm Dan Long. So glad you could join us here for Fort Lee Baseball here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Fort Lee Baseball is brought to you by the Fort Lee PBA, Cafaso's Fairway Market, The Finest Construction, Fort Lee Soccer Club, Roosin and Daru Electric, Bridgman Basketball Camp, the Fort Lee VFW, Visions Federal Credit Union, It's Greek to Me, Connect One Bank, Bergen Black Sox, Senator Builders, UCS Strength and Speed, the Collective Salon, and the Fort Lee Education Association. Well, these two teams are now locking horns here in this quarterfinal matchup with a spot in the sectional semifinals on the line for the winner. Roxbury pulled the upset over number 6 seed Ridgefield Park Pagoda in the opening round 3-1, while Fort Lee outlasted 14 seed Warren Hills 2-0 to punch their ticket here today to this rarefied air of a state playoff win. For Fort Lee, it was their first win in the state postseason tournament since 2012 when they defeated North Tech back in that year 15-0 in the Group 2 playoffs. They later on lost to Lyndhurst in their quarterfinal game. So Fort Lee with a win here today can make a little bit of history and once again advance to the semifinals where if things happen on the other side of the bracket with Ramapo's game against Morris Knolls, if Morris Knolls were to win and Fort Lee were to win here today, Fort Lee would be back here to host another game in the state postseason. Roxbury is led by their head coach, Greg Trotter. They're 14-11 on the season. They're going to be sporting their Vegas Gold top uniforms with the white pants and the blue helmets. On the mound here this afternoon for Fort Lee is going to be number 12, Bradley Lee. Lee is a junior, and he is sporting a 1.94 ERA. He's thrown 43 1/3 innings of work, allowed 28 runs, 12 of which have been earned, 47 strikeouts on the season for the right-hander. And the first pitch of the state playoff game is a swing and a miss strike, that time by Roxbury. Roxbury is going to have the leadoff man being number 15, Anthony Palambit, the junior who's hitting .348 on the season. He went 2 for 4 against Ridgefield Park in the opening round. He's behind in the count now, 0-2. Swing and a miss, and Palambit goes down with a strikeout. So Bradley Lee starts off the afternoon in style for Fort Lee, as the Bridgman right-hander will start with a K. One away with no one on base here in the top of the first inning. That'll bring up the first baseman hitting second in the lineup, number 20, Ryan Parker. Parker is a sophomore, slugging a .345 batting average on the season. 20 hits, 11 RBIs, and also has scored 13 runs. He was hitless in 4 at-bats against Ridgefield Park in the last round. The 1-0. Grounded foul into the backstop, now even in the count at 1-1. One dropped in, curveball for a strike. That makes it 1-2. Fort Lee well aware of Ridgefield Park Pagoda, that co-op program this year, as they are a league rival of the Bridgman. And another swing and a miss, and that is fouled into the catcher's mitt. That's going to be strike 3. So Bradley Lee of Fort Lee has now retired his first 2 batters that he's faced via the strikeout, and there's 2 away with no one on here in the top of the first inning. Brings up number 11, Michael Paxos, the third baseman. Paxos, a senior, hitting .400 on the season for Roxbury. 26 hits, 12 RBIs. And that time, Paxos got hit by the pitch, so he'll be the first base runner of the afternoon for Roxbury. They'll have 2 outs with a runner on first here in the top of the first inning. Scoreless action in this North 1 Group 3 sectional quarterfinal matchup. Brings up number 8, the left fielder, Jared Haupt. The sophomore hitting .278 on the season, 1 home run, 12 RBIs, 22 hits. He was 0 for 2 with a run scored against Ridgeville Park. And he was also sensational on the mound as the Roxbury Gales pitcher. He hits a ground ball to second base. That's going to be fielded by Stephen Kim on the 4-3 putout on your scorecard. So 1 is left on base as we head to the bottom of the first. No score in this sectional quarterfinal playoff game between Roxbury and Fort Lee as you're watching all the action here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Now let's meet today's starting lineup for the Bridgemen. Leading off and playing at second base, number 9, Stephen Kim. Hitting second and doing the catching is number 1, Luke Senator. Hitting third and playing at first base is number 17, Chris Kim. Hitting fourth, the designated hitter, number 11, Jacob Greenberg. Hitting fifth and playing in center field, number 2, CJ Senator. Hitting sixth and playing in right field, number 8, Nico Sango. Hitting seventh and playing at third base, number 3, Jack Dorcom. Hitting 8th and playing in left field, number 5, Gabe Lasval. And hitting 9th and playing at short, number 20, Luke Kim. As they'll be going against number 4, Colin Donnelly, who gets the start here for Coach Trotter and Roxbury. Donnelly is a senior, 3.53 ERA in 37 2/3 innings of work, has given up 23 runs, 19 of which have been earned runs, and has also accumulated 46 strikeouts on the season. Fort Lee has been electric as an offensive unit this season for Coach Pete Kraujic, averaging 6.6 runs per game this year. And the top of their order has been pretty special, to say the least. Stephen Kim, the junior, hitting .430 out of the leadoff spot. And he chases after the first one and comes away empty with a swing and a miss. Stephen Kim was hitless, though, in 3 at-bats earlier this week in the opening round playoff game against Warren Hills, as that one is bounced in the dirt by Donnelly to even the count now at 1-1. .430 batting average, 2 home runs, 23 RBIs, 34 hits on the season for the junior. And he's dangerous if he gets on base. He's also swiped 10 stolen bases this year. The left-hander has that one ricochet into the far side of the backstop. It's now 1-2 against Stephen Kim. Normally, you would say that if you're hitting .430 on the season, you're probably going to be the best player on your team, but that is not the case here for Fort Lee, as Luke Senator is even doing more damage offensively this year, and he's going to be right behind Stephen Kim in the lineup. Senator with a batting average over .500 this year. These two guys get on early. A lot of runs start to pile up for Fort Lee this spring. Swing and a miss, and that time Stephen Kim will foul that one out officially as it went into the catcher's mitt. Will go down as a strikeout, and there's one away to begin the bottom of the first inning. And that brings up the aforementioned Luke Senator, the senior catcher, .541 batting average this season. He has collected an eye-popping 40 hits this spring, 4 home runs, 28 RBIs, and scored 22 runs. Takes that one outside the zone for a ball, 1-0. He went 2 for 3 with a double and an RBI in the win against Warren Hills on Wednesday. The 1-0. Senator fouls that one back, evens the count at 1-1. Luke has had a season for the ages. The team leader for this Fort Lee Bridgeman side that have produced 21 wins this year, 21-5, one of the best seasons in program history. A team that's coming off another Big North American Division championship season, and last year they could not get the job done in the opening round of the playoffs this year. They have a playoff win now under their belt. They're looking for 2. Donnelly fires that one in to even the count again, this time at 2-2. Sizable contingent of Roxbury faithful behind the backstop, as you could see. 2-2, and that time Senator gets plunked on the arm. So Donnelly was trying to fire that one inside, but instead Senator got plunked for the 14th time this season, and Luke is the first base runner of the afternoon here for Fort Lee. So each pitcher has hit a batter in this opening inning of this quarterfinal playoff game. Now we'll bring up the third hitter in the lineup for Fort Lee in number 17, Chris Kim. The senior hitting .377 on the season. Throw over to first is not going to be in time. Kim with 20 hits on the season. He has driven in 13 runs. He went 1 for 3 in the opening round playoff game. Kim with a hard shot, base hit into left field. First base hit of the game for Fort Lee, and they've now have 2 runners on base with 1 out here in the bottom of the first. So Kim gets the first hit of the day. And Fort Lee now trying to work on something here in the bottom of the first. Jacob Greenberg is due up next here for the Bridgman in the cleanup spot. Jacob is a senior hitting .257 on the season. He's produced 19 RBIs and collected 19 hits on the season. He went 1 for 3 against Warren Hills. He also absolutely pitched a gem. Complete game shutout victory where he only gave up 3 hits, struck out 6 in 7 innings of work in that 2-0 win against Warren Hills. Runners at first and second, 1 away, scoreless game, bottom of the first. Donnelly, the lefty, again kicks and fires, missing upstairs. Good opportunity here for Fort Lee to potentially tack on the first run of this quarterfinal. Again, missing low is Donnelly this time. 3-0 the count. Have to wonder if Coach Kraljic will have the green light on for Greenberg or if he's going to be taking all the way here. A walk would load the bases for the Bridgman. Donnelly's 3-0. That just snuck inside the inside corner for a strike. 3-1 count against Greenberg. Senator was the man who got hit. That was the first base runner of this inning, and Greenberg will take that one low outside for ball 4, and the bases are loaded full of Fort Lee Bridgman here, trying to strike for the opening salvo of this quarterfinal game here in the bottom of the first inning. That'll bring up C.J. Senator, the center fielder for Fort Lee. Jeremiah Marrero is the man who's running at third base for Senator after he got hit. Marrero came in as a courtesy runner for the catcher. C.J. Senator, the junior center fielder, hitting .303 on the season. 21 RBIs, 23 base hits. He went 0 for 3, scored a run and stole a base in the opening playoff round. First ball swinging, and he fouls it straight back. Trying to be aggressive against Donnelly waiting for a strike to be thrown. Bases loaded. Donnelly looking for a ground ball that could potentially get him out of trouble. Swing and a miss there by Senator, a little tardy, and now he finds himself in an 0-2 hole. Fort Lee comes in having won 8 out of their last 10 games on the season, playing some of their best baseball of the spring. And a swing and a miss and a huge strikeout there by Donnelly. 1, 2, 3. All he needed with 3 pitches to retire C.J. Senator, and now there's a pathway potentially out of the inning. 2 outs with the bases still loaded. Second strikeout of the inning there for Donnelly. Brings up Nico Sango. Sango, and a hot shot right into the waiting glove of the first baseman Parker to retire the side. So Fort Lee loads up the bases with only 1 out in the bottom of the first, but they can't get home that elusive first run of the inning. So that'll send us to the top of the second. No score between Roxbury and Fort Lee in this North 1 Group 3 sectional quarterfinal. No score here as we head to the top of the second inning. Fort Lee in their home white, Roxbury in the road Vegas gold. Pete Kraljic, who was named the County Coach of the Year last season, felt like his team made such strides last season, but then they had that unfortunate ending, losing to Paramus, being upset here at home in the first round of the North 1 Group 3 playoffs. They lost 8-3 here at the Sugarman Sports Complex. Well, they made sure to get out of the opening round this year, winning 2-0 the other day. Now they want to add to that win total this season and looking for win number 22. This one has been rocketed, and it's out of play and out on the street as well. That's going to be a long foul ball. That time for Frankie Falco, the center fielder. Falco, number 2, is a sophomore, hitting .309 on the season, 3 home runs, 22 RBIs, and 21 hits on the year. That time he jams that one backwards, and he's quickly behind 0-2 against Bradley Lee. Lee had 2 strikeouts in that opening inning, hit a batter, and then induced the last batter he faced into a ground ball out at second base to put up the 0. Chasing for that one in the dirt. The tag is going to be administered by Luke Senator, and that is strikeout number 3 of the game for Bradley Lee. And there's 1 away to begin the top of the second. Lee came into this game, fans, with 47 strikeouts on the year, so that is officially strikeout number 50. As that is fouled into the backstop. Luca Argenziano, the starting shortstop for Roxbury, stepping in. Argenziano hitting .414 on the season. 24 hits, 15 RBIs. He was 0 for 3, though, in the opening round win against Ridgefield Park. Tops that one, foul. Down the third baseline, no, they're going to say that stayed in fair territory. It took a big bounce and still hung its way inside the foul line. So that is a fair ball and legging it out in an infield hit. That's the first hit of the afternoon for Roxbury. the way that it had so much topspin, it looked like right off the bat, the way that it bounced off of this turf surface, that it was definitely going to roll its way foul, but it refused to do so. Dorcom had to play it at third, and his throw was not going to be in time. So a one-out base runner here for Roxbury in the top of the second. That brings up the left-hand hitter, number 12, Nicholas Olives, the sophomore, hitting .316 on the season. 12 hits, 6 RBIs. He went 1 for 3 in the last round. 1-1 count against Olives. Leaves 1-1. Slice the opposite way, foul. Now it's 1-2. So Argenziano was the first one to collect a base hit for Roxbury in this state playoff game. Gales 14-11 on this season. They finished third in the NJAC's American Division. That pitch missing high from Lee. Last season, the Gales went 16-10. They lost in the first round of the 2025 tournament to Bergenfield, another Bergen County opponent, 3-0. They last won a state playoff game in 2024 when they defeated Wayne Valley, and then subsequently lost to Wayne Hills in the next round in the quarters. 2-2 count against Olives. One out here, runner down at first base in the top of the second. Scoreless game between Roxbury and Fort Lee. So glad you could join us here in the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. 2-2, late swing, but just getting a piece of it, though, was Olives to stay alive in the at-bat. In the North 1 Group 3 tournament, the top overall seed advanced. That was Northern Valley Oltapan. They're going to be taking on Bergen County rival Northern Highlands in their quarterfinal matchup today. Nutley, the number 5 seed, will be taking on number 13 seed Wayne Valley, the top of the bracket. Sliced foul again, just outside the third base bag. On the bottom side of the bracket, that's where you'll find Fort Lee and Roxbury. And the winner of this matchup will take on the winner of number 7 seed Morris Knolls, traveling to number 2 seed Ramapo. Ramapo, who were the runners-up for the county championship this year in Bergen County. As Lee will step off the rubber and reset himself as he's trying to find a finishing pitch here against Nicholas Olives. The right fielder has done a nice job of fouling off balls to stay in the at-bat, and he'll continue to do so here as he caroms that one across the street. Olives collected a hit in 3 at-bats in the last round. Looking for his first hit in his first at-bat here today. Lee will step out, then the batter will readjust himself as well before stepping back in. That pitch taken high, and now the count is run full at 3-2. Good sustained at bat here by Roxbury, making Lee work after he surrendered an infield hit to the previous hitter. 3-2, the runner was off, and it's fouled right into the backstop again, so we'll do it all over again with a full count. We'll see if Argenziano is going to be off and running again like he was on the last pitch. Pickoff attempt. I think Lee heard me and wanted to keep that runner as close as possible to the first base bag and not allow him to get off to a great jump there. "3-2. That one is driven foul. And Everyone always has a little hush over themselves when a foul ball is outside the facility of will it hit into one of the parked cars or even some of the cars that are driving just outside the Sugarman Sports Complex. Again, wasting away another pitch. Olives has seen a ton here from Lee. Over double digits seen in this at-bat in terms of total pitches. This can do wonders for a team like Roxbury, who's trying to get to the starting pitcher for Fort Lee and make sure this is a short start. Ground ball. It's going to be a possible double play ball on to second for one. On to first. The relay is too high, and Roxbury will be safe at first. So it's going to be a fielder's choice there. If it was a clean throw to first, it might have been in time for a double play. Instead, it's just going to be one out. There's 2 outs in the inning, and now a new runner down at first base. As this is going to be a chop shot that's going to go into center field for a base hit. Roxbury hesitating a bit. The throw down to third in plenty of time. Thrown out trying to advance. That hesitation by the base runner at second base cost them the chance to continue on in the inning because they didn't know if it was going to get past the infield. It did slither its way into the outfield, but an outstanding defensive throw there from the outfield and center field by C.J. Senator. And he throws out the runner trying to advance on the hard-hit ball from first to third, and that will retire the side. So we head to the bottom of the second. It's still scoreless between Roxbury and Fort Lee. Still scoreless as we head down to the bottom of the second. Big defensive play there got Fort Lee out of potential trouble in the top of the second inning. After that base hit, but then the runner trying to advance to an extra base got thrown out trying to get to third, and that's the big no-no in baseball. You never want to make the last out at third base. Jack Dorcom, the third baseman for Fort Lee, stepping in. Dorcom takes that one in for a strike, 1-2. Jack is hitting .271 on the season. The senior, 13 RBIs, 19 hits, went 1 for 3 against Warren Hills. Chases after that one upstairs and fouls it straight into the backstop. Dorcom lays off that delivery from Donnelly that was well outside the zone. 2-2. Just an exquisite day at the ballpark here today. 76 degrees and sunny. The nice little breeze around the facility. Dorcom drives that one deep on a line drive. That goes right over the head of the right fielder. Olives froze there as he saw that he was not going to be able to get to it. And then he has to play it off the wall. So a leadoff double for Dorcom to start off the bottom of the second. And Fort Lee with a runner in scoring position right away. Once again, trying to take the lead here for the first time in this sectional quarterfinal game. Second Fort Lee hit of the afternoon. That brings up Gabe Lasval. Lasval is a junior hitting .196 on the season. He plays in left field. 10 hits, 17 runs scored. He was hitless in 2 at-bats on Wednesday. Lasval on his first opportunity there sees that curl outside the zone for a ball, 1-0. Take it in for a strike right down Broadway there to even the count at 1-1. Lasval's got a good eye at the plate this season. He's drawn 13 walks for Fort Lee. Dorcom with a small lead off of second base. Just getting a sliver of that one as it's fouled backwards. 1-2 the count. Donnelly trying to get his first out of the bottom of the second without allowing the runner to advance down to third with 1 out. And that is going to be strike 3 called. Fort Lee's Lasval was frozen there at the dish, and now there's 1 away. Third strikeout of the game for Colin Donnelly of Roxbury. That'll bring up the 9th place hitter in the Fort Lee lineup at number 20, shortstop Luke Kim. Luke is hitting .325 on the season, 25 hits, 15 RBIs, 23 runs scored. He's been off to a great season. As that's taken in for a strike, though, is Donnelly trying to bounce back after surrendering that leadoff walk. Ahead of the count now against Luke Kim. 0-1. Miss on the outside. 1-1. Donnelly, very good pitcher in terms of not giving up a lot of walks this season. 20. Swing and a miss, elicited by Luke Kim. Kim now behind in the at-bat, 1-2. In the opening inning, Fort Lee had the bases loaded with 1 out, could not score. They had a leadoff man at second base with nobody out, now in danger of possibly having their second out. 1-2, strike 3 called. Inside corner, once again, caught a Fort Lee batter looking back-to-back backwards Ks. And once again, Donnelly in position here, potentially get himself out of a jam. Four strikeouts in this game so far, and we're not even through 2 innings of work for Donnelly. Brings up the leadoff hitter, Stephen Kim. Kim went down swinging with a strikeout back in the first inning. He's 0 for 1. Stephen again slugging a red-hot bat this season, .430 batting average. He's also produced 23 RBIs from his leadoff position. Kim on a line drive once again to end an inning. So much like the first inning, Fort Lee had a runner in scoring position with nobody out to begin this second inning, and eventually the inning ends with a line drive into the waiting glove of Parker down at first base. So we're through 2 innings of play. It's scoreless between Roxbury, the number 11 seed, and third-seeded Fort Lee here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. So we have ourselves a little bit of a pitching duel shaping up here between these two great pitchers this season. Fort Lee's Bradley Lee has produced 3 strikeouts, no runs allowed, 2 hits through the first 2 innings of play. While for Roxbury, Colin Donnelly has been great with 4 strikeouts, no runs allowed, 2 hits as well with 1 walk. As we head to the top of the third here at the Sugarman Sports Complex. Again, a really nice crowd assembled, and why not on a beautiful Friday afternoon. Here near the end of the month of May, see some state playoff baseball in the NJSIAA North 1 Group 3 sectional quarterfinals. That breaking pitch missing high was a bit of a buckler, as that'll send Christos Paxos, the second baseman, backwards. 1-0 count for him. As he lines it down to first base, handled on a hop there by Chris Kim, and he'll easily touch the first base bag for the first out of inning number 3. That'll bring us to the top of the Roxbury order. Anthony Palambit, who's 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Again, Palambit had 2 hits collected in the opening playoff game, the upset victory against Ridgefield Park. Palambit, a .348 hitter on the spring. Has a little pop at his bat as well, 3 home runs. Missed on the outside. Palambit takes low now. Lee trying to make sure he doesn't lose the leadoff hitter. But he will do just that. He hit the batter. Looked like it was going to be a potential walk anyway, but that's going to be the second batter plunked here in this game by Fort Lee's Bradley Lee. So there's 1 out base runner here for the Roxbury Gales to begin the top of the 3rd inning. Brings up the first baseman, Ryan Parker. Parker was a strikeout victim, went down swinging back at his first plate appearance in the first. Parker fouls that to the backstop, 0-1 the count against him. .345 batting average on the season. Still looking for his first hit of the postseason. He's now, with his 0 for 1 here today, 0 for 5 to start off the North 1 Group 3 playoffs. Ground ball, going to be handled by the third baseman. Dorcom will get it over in time. That will advance the runner down to second, but now there's 2 outs here in the inning. And last foul in left field, C.J. Senator in center, and Sango in right field. The defense in the outfield for Fort Lee. Around the diamond in the infield, Dorcom, who just made that play at third base, Luke Kim at short, Stephen Kim at second, and Chris Kim at first, with Luke Senator catching once again. Michael Paxos, the third baseman who got hit by a pitch back in the first inning, will step in with 2 outs and a runner down at second. Paxos, a .400 hitter on the year. This could be a dangerous spot for Fort Lee. Bradley Lee has to pitch accordingly as he misses on that breaking pitch outside the zone, 1-0. That one is ricocheted into the back. 1-1. Twelve RBIs on the season for Paxos. Base hit might score a run here with a runner staying close to the second base bag. That is grounded foul, and now it's a 1-2 count in favor of Fort Lee's Bradley Lee. 2 outs. Runner at second. Here's the pitch. Strike 3 called. Frozen at home plate was Michael Paxos as Bradley Lee dials up his first strikeout of the third inning, strikeout number 4 of the afternoon. And we head to a scoreless bottom of the third here at the Sugarman Sports Complex as you're watching all the action courtesy of our proud sponsors as seen on your screen. Two pitchers have now combined for 8 strikeouts in this game as we head to the bottom of the third inning. No runs on the board in the scoreless affair. Roxbury, the number 11 seed, trying to produce a second consecutive upset victory in this tournament. We've had a couple upsets in the North 1 Group 3 bracket already. Wayne Valley took down arch rival Wayne Hills 1-0. They're the number 13 seed. Roxbury produced the other upset as the number 11 seed. Trying to take down Fort Lee, who's earned themselves the number 3 seed this season. Luke Senator stepping in for his second plate appearance. He got hit by a pitch back in the first inning. Senator will ground that one down to short. Nice defensive play that time. Argenziano ranging over, stuck with it. Made sure that it did not get off of his glove, and he will retire Luke Senator for the first time this afternoon. 1 away to begin the bottom of the third on the 6-3 groundout. That brings up number 17, Chris Kim. Kim is 1 for 1 with a base hit back in the first inning. Kim will blast that one deep to straightaway center field, way back, gone! Home run! Chris Kim with the solo home run. And Kim, who had such power in his bat in his debut season a season ago after transferring to Fort Lee from Bergen Catholic, he strikes for a long ball here and has plated home the first run of this state playoff game. That is his first home run of this spring. And there was a no-doubter as well, as that just kept on carrying all the way past the iron fencing here in the outfield. 1-0 lead for Fort Lee, courtesy of Chris Kim's 14th RBI driven in this season. Kim had produced a couple of moonshots a season ago. Brings up Jacob Greenberg. Greenberg earned a walk back in the first inning, aggressively trying to attack that pitch from Colin Donnelly. So we have ourselves our first run of this state playoff game. A 1-out home run here in the bottom of the home third. 1-0 lead for Fort Lee. 1-1 count now against Greenberg. Now 1-2 against Greenberg. Ground ball down to second base. That's going to be handled by Paxos and gets it over to Parker in time. Greenberg is retired for the second out of the bottom of the third. That'll bring up C.J. Senator with nobody on, with 2 outs here in the bottom of the third inning. C.J. is 0 for 1. He struck out back in his first plate appearance. That was with the bases loaded and 1 away. Senator was not able to bring in that opening run for Fort Lee in the first. The Bridgemen have finally struck through against Donnelly, courtesy of the solo home run to straightaway center field. That baseball is bounced low in the dirt off of Palambit. Roxbury defense in the outfield, Halp in left, Falco in center, Olives in right. Michael Paxos is at third. Argenziano at short. Christos Paxos is at second. Parker at first. And Palambit doing the catching. 1-2 count now against C.J. Senator. Dismissed on the outside, 2-2. 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, and maybe just getting a piece that time was Senator. He was fooled on that one, but just got enough to keep this bat alive. Two. That time swung and missed and came away empty. So Donnelly able to hunker down after surrendering the home run to retire the next 2 batters he faced in order to limit the damage to only 1. But Fort Lee strikes for the first run of this afternoon on a solo home run by number 17, Chris Kim. And that'll send us to the 4th inning with Fort Lee on top of Roxbury 1-0. First time this afternoon that starting pitcher for Fort Lee, Bradley Lee, is working with a lead. 1-run margin to work with. It's 1-0 Fort Lee as we head to the top of the 4th inning. Dan Long, so glad you could join us here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. A bunt attempt here, fielded by Dorcom, not going to be in time, and a bunt single there. Jared Haupt, the left fielder, dropped down a perfectly executed bunt down the third base line, and when Dorcom got to it, it was simply going to be a foot race, and the starting left fielder for Roxbury won that rather easily. So the leadoff man is on to begin the 4th inning. Third hit of the game for Roxbury. 2 of the 3 hits have been of infield variety. Brings up number 5 hitter, number 2, Frankie Falco, the center fielder. Falco struck out swinging in the 2nd inning. Falco fouls that to the backstop. First time that the leadoff man has reached base safely in this playoff game for Roxbury. We'll see if they try to get aggressive and try to steal a base here. That pitch from Lee was taken low. 1-1. Falco, a .309 hitter coming into today's action. 3 home runs, 22 RBIs, 21 hits. Faked the bunt, and it actually curled into the strike zone, dropped in low for a strike. Now 1-2 the count in favor of Bradley Lee. Lee has given up 3 hits, registered 4 strikeouts. Two and two. That one is chopped at and dribbled foul. So Falco will stay alive in this at-bat. Early on in the at-bat, it looked like Falco might be looking to get around to dropping down a sacrifice bunt to move the runner into scoring position. That's obviously going to be off the table here with 2 strikes against him. That one is driven a ton down the left field line. That is hooking, and that is going to be a foul ball. Falco was trying to drive that one and make that extra bases and maybe even score his teammate from first. Helps retreats back to first base. 2-2 count. Chopped again right into the backstop. One-run lead for Fort Lee, courtesy of the solo home run in the last half inning. Roxbury trying to respond with an answer of their own quickly. And that is going to be strike 3 called. Falco thought that he was going to earn his way on base, thought maybe that was outside the zone. Instead, the umpire begged to differ. And that's going to be another backwards K on the afternoon for Bradley Lee, his 5th strikeout of the afternoon. 1 on and 1 away here at the top of the 4th inning. Luca Argenziano, the shortstop who's 1 for 1, had an infield hit. Now he bloops this one, trying to bloop it over the head of the shortstop. He will not be able to do that. The throw back to first. It's a double play. Luke Kim doing a great job of ranging back to make the play, and then was smart enough to realize, hey, that Roxbury runner had ventured way too far off first base, thinking that could probably bloop behind him into shallow left field, and he doubled up instead, and that will end the top of the 4th inning for Roxbury. So it remains a 1-0 lead for Fort Lee as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. And we'd like to thank our proud sponsors that include the Fort Lee PBA, Cafaso's Fairway Market, The Finest Construction, Fort Lee Soccer Club, Roosin and DeRue Electric, Bridgman Basketball Camp, the Fort Lee VFW, Visions Federal Credit Union, It's Greek to Me, Bergen Black Sox, Senator Builders, UCS Strength and Speed, the Collective Salon, and the Fort Lee Education Association. 6, 7, and 8 hitters due up here to begin the bottom of the fourth inning for Fort Lee, trying to build upon their one-run lead. Fort Lee is yet to surrender a run this postseason. They shut out Warren Hills in their last game and have shut out Roxbury through 4, and that's going to be a base hit. That's going to go all the way close to the fence. It's going to be a leadoff double yet again for Fort Lee, this time courtesy of the right fielder, Nico Sango. Three of Fort Lee's 4 hits this afternoon have been of extra base variety. That is the second double. Jack Dorcom, the man stepping in, led off the second inning with a double. And now Nico Sango with a double to right center field. Fort Lee leading 1-0, and now we'll see what does Coach Kraujic decide to do. Does he play a little small ball here and drop down a bunt to try to sacrifice that runner from second to third, or if he's trying to work on a big inning here? Dorcom does not offer at that first pitch outside the zone. It's 1-0 in his favor. Sango collecting his first double of the season. Nico Sango has been just absolutely ripping it of late. He's gotten his batting average up over .328 on the season. He has been red hot over the last couple of weeks. He collected 2 hits in the first round, now a hit here to lead off the bottom of the fourth. 2-0 count against Dorcom. Swing and a miss that time. He was trying to drive it all the way towards us on the opposite side of the stadium. Came away empty, though. It's 2-1 against the starting third baseman for the Bridgemen. Dorcom has driven in 13 runs this season with a .271 batting average. Roxbury trying to keep Sango close to the second base bag so he couldn't possibly score off a base hit. Breaking pitch floats into the zone for a strike. Beautiful ball there from Donnelly. Two-two count, nobody out, runner at second, bottom of the fourth. That pitch missed low. Home plate umpire gave it a long look there, but would not call the strike, and the count runs full at 3-2. Breaking pitch again, missing low. And that will be ball 4. So the first 2 runners have reached base safely here against Donnelly to begin the bottom of the fourth inning. Runners at first and second, nobody out here for the Bridgemen. Dorcom on base now twice in this game with his double and a walk. Only the second walk surrendered in this contest by Donnelly. And now it looks like they're going to have discussions on the mound to decide what they want to do and how they want to approach this juncture in the game. Nobody out here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Fort Lee on top of Roxbury 1-0, and they're looking for more as they're watching the action here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Big opportunity here for Fort Lee. Runners at first and second. Nobody out. Bottom of the fourth inning. Gabe Lasval, left fielder, steps in. He struck out looking back in his lone plate appearance in this game back in the second inning. Looked like he was thinking about squaring around. Did not offer at it and took a strike right down the heart of the plate. 0-1. Lasval with 8 RBIs on the year. Again, looked like he was thinking about it and instead took another strike, and now he's fallen behind quickly 0-2. He's been a little hesitant about committing fully to dropping down a sacrifice bunt, and he's been burned each time by taking that subsequent pitch for a strike. Now there's no chance of a bunt here. The 0-2. Lasval was looking again, and the catcher, to his credit, was trying to frame that pitch and move it back up into the strike zone, but it fell outside the zone for a ball. 1-2. Palambit doing a nice job there of trying to buy that call. Pitch gets away from the catcher, goes to the backstop, and that will be as good as a sacrifice as it advances both Bridgman up one base. It's now going to be second and third with nobody out here in the bottom of the fourth inning. And the count has improved to a 2-2 margin against Gabe Lasval. The junior with a base hit here could possibly score 2. Infield playing in now for Roxbury, trying to cut down anything at home plate on a soft hit ball. Donnelly's 2-2. And again, they say that was a ball. Palambit was desperately trying to hold on as long as possible to frame that one to convince the umpire, but the home plate umpire wasn't buying what he was selling. Count is run full at 3-2. Second and third with nobody out, 1-0 lead for Fort Lee. Lasval will deliver into shallow left field. That's a base hit. That'll score 1. Fort Lee will put the brakes on the runner at third, and the 9th RBI of the season for Gabe Lasval. And Fort Lee has now doubled its lead at 2-0. RBI single to shallow left field, and the Bridgmen lead by 2. That will bring up the shortstop, Luke Kim. Kim, who produced that double play in the field to end the top of the fourth inning, now trying to deliver here in the bottom of the fourth inning with a base hit. That is a foul ball. 0-1 the count. 2 hits in the inning here for Fort Lee, up to 5 hits on the afternoon. Pickoff attempt. They have the runner down at second, but the throw is offline. So Fort Lee steals second base. They keep the runner stuck down at third, but they have runners at second and third with nobody out. And things looking better and better here, potentially, for the Bridgmen. Roxbury did a good job. They sniffed that out. They knew what was coming, but they just could not complete the execution of the pickoff attempt. Another foul and a swing that came away relatively empty that time for Kim. So Luke is behind in the count now, 0-2. Runners at second and third against the 9th place hitter in the Bridgman lineup. Fort Lee with 1 run already home here in the bottom of the fourth. Kim will drive that one to opposite field. Base hit! That might bring home both. They'll do station-to-station base running, though. They'll put the brakes once again on the runner at third. That's going to be an RBI single to right field with 2 strikes against him by Luke Kim. And Fort Lee now leads 3-0. First 4 hitters have reached safely here in the bottom of the fourth inning for Fort Lee. And that will flip the lineup to the top of the lineup now, and number 9, Stephen Kim. 3 runs on 6 hits in this ball game here at the Sugarman Sports Complex. The leadoff man, Stephen Kim, is a rare 0-for in this game. He's 0-for-2. Struck out swinging in the first, lined out to first, and the waiting glove of Parker to end the second. The throw down to second, and they're going to say safe on the play. Umpire was waiting out to see whether or not that ball was hung on to. Roxbury's second baseman, Paxos, is incredulous of why he wasn't given the benefit of the call. And I think that there's going to be discussions now as Greg Trotter, the head coach, comes out and he wants an explanation of why that wasn't an out. He believed that his player held on to it, administered the tag, but instead they deemed that to be not the case. So safe at second is Luke Kim. So Fort Lee has stolen a couple of bags here in this bottom of the fourth inning and have been taking full advantage. Nice breaking pitch that time. Even Stephen Kim nodding his head in approval for the strike. A swing and a miss that time. So Stephen looking for his first hit of the game. Fort Lee leading Roxbury 3-0. They won their first playoff game against Warren Hills the other day, 2-0. And a swing and a miss, and there goes down Stephen Kim for the first out of this bottom of the fourth inning for Colin Donnelly, and there's one away. Strikeout number 6 this afternoon for number 4 in gold. Now he has to contend with the best hitter in this lineup for Fort Lee, number 1, catcher Luke Senator. Senator got hit by a pitch in the first, grounded out to short his last time up in the third inning. Breaking pitch falls in the outside corner for a strike, 0-1. Runners at second and third, one away here in the bottom of the fourth. Bounce in the dirt, that gets away from the catcher, and there's going to be no throw in time. Another run scores here for Fort Lee. They've put up a 3-spot here in the bottom of the fourth inning. And Fort Lee stretches their margin to a 4-0 advantage. Couple times with pitches that have gotten away from the catcher have gone to the backstop, have proven to be rather costly here this afternoon for the visiting Gales. Infield still playing in, and that's a hot shot that gets away from the glove of the third baseman. That will be an RBI single by Luke Senator, his 41st hit of the season. And Senator drives in his 29th RBI as well. And Fort Lee with some serious breathing room by putting up a 4-spot here in the bottom of the fourth. Despite that one-run scoring on the wild pitch, on that last play, they were still playing with the infield in with one out, and Senator took full advantage and just had that one roped right alongside the fair line and got it past the third baseman and got his 41st hit of the season. Luke Senator driving in his 29th RBI. Fort Lee scores again. And it looks like it will also summon to the mound a brand new pitcher for the Roxbury Gales. This will be Robbie Bauman, number 3, the senior right-hander. 4.50 ERA, has pitched 28 innings of work, given up 21 runs, 18 of which have been earned, striking out 25 and walking 13. So Colin Donnelly went 3 1/3 innings of work here in this playoff game. Gave up 5 runs before giving away now to Robbie Bauman. Gave up 7 hits in the 5 runs to Fort Lee. Fort Lee really getting to him here in the 4th inning as Fort Lee has produced 4 runs on 4 hits. Opened up their scoring in the last inning in the 3rd with that solo home run by Chris Kims to straightaway center field. And then in this inning, Nico Sango led off with a double. Jack Dorcom followed with a walk. Gabe Lasval delivered with an RBI single. Luke Kim followed with an RBI single. And following a strikeout, Luke Senator delivered an RBI single of his own. 1 out, runner at first. 5-0 lead, batting here in the bottom of the 4th inning. And here is Chris Kim, who's 2 for 2 with a home run and an RBI in this one. Kim fouls that one straight back, 0-1 the count against the senior. Kim, with his first home run of the season, had 13 RBIs coming into play today. And his home run to straightaway center, that was a no-doubter, too. That was a big-time long home run. Here's Kim again, trying to duplicate that. Instead, it's going to come up a little short. It's going to be right into the waiting glove of Falco in straightaway center field. Now there's 2 away in the inning. First time that Chris Kim has been retired here this afternoon. That'll bring up number 11, Jacob Greenberg. Greenberg is 0 for 1 with a walk here so far in this game. Drew that walk in the first inning, grounded out to second base his last time up in the 3rd. 1-0 count against Jacob. Again, the winner of this game will face the winner of Morris Knowles and Ramapo in the North 1 Group 3 semifinals. If there is a win here today by Fort Lee and an upset victory by Morris Knowles, that semifinal will be played here at the Sugarman Sports Complex. If Ramapo were to win, Fort Lee would travel to Franklin Lakes to take on the Raiders. Now it looks like it was a balk called against the pitcher, and awarded to second base is Senator. So Bauman has to settle himself down here with a runner back in scoring position, trying to maybe get that final out courtesy of Greenberg. Strike call there on the outside edge. Good pitch. Roxbury looking for their 15th win of the season. They're 14-11 overall this spring. Went 16-10 a season ago. This one is rocketed deep to left field, and that's not going to be played cleanly. It's going to roll all the way to the fence. That's going to easily score Senator from second. Making the slide all the way down to third with an RBI triple is Jacob Greenberg. And Fort Lee has put up a 5 spot here in the bottom of the 4th inning and are in cruise control right now. They lead 6-0. Fifth hit of this 4th inning for Fort Lee. 4 extra base hits, 2 doubles, a triple, and a home run. This one is just a titanic shot that'll go all the way across the street. But for a long foul ball for C.J. Senator, who is the 9th hitter here up in this inning for Coach Kraljic's side. The bats have come alive big time here in the bottom of the 4th. As Bauman gets that second strike call, 0-2 the count. Three singles, 1 double, 1 triple, all here in the bottom of the 4th. That's fouled into the backstop. Fort Lee trying to produce their 2nd consecutive playoff win. Again, the win that they picked up in the first round, it was their first as a program since 2012. And that will be strike 3 called, as that is floated in with a breaking pitch by Bauman to end the inning. but not before this marathon inning ends in 5 runs, going the way of Fort Lee. It's all Bridgman now as we head to the top of the 5th inning. 6-0 for the number 3 seed in our North 1 Group 3 sectional quarterfinal. Five-run inning in the bottom of the 4th inning has given Fort Lee a 6-0 advantage here as we head to the top of the 5th inning. As you're watching the exclusive broadcast coverage of this sectional playoff baseball game here on Fort Lee's YouTube channel. Been your broadcast home all school year long for Bridgman Athletics. I'm Dan Long, glad that he could join us on a picture-perfect Friday afternoon here in late May. 7, 8, and 9 hitters due up here for Roxbury as they try to mount a comeback, trying to get a little spark going offensively in their bats, too. They've been shut out by Bradley Lee on the mound through the first 4 innings of action here on the road. A team that produced 3 runs in a 3-1 victory in the first round, an upset against the number 6 seed. Ground ball down to second base. Stephen Kim, plenty of time to handle that one, throws over in time for the 4-3 putout in your scorecard, and the leadoff man is retired to begin the top of the 5th. So Nicholas Olives is now 0 for 2 with a couple of ground ball outs. As that will be a strike against Finn Paul, the designated hitter. First at bat for Paul. And we're sharing this spot in the lineup with Colin Donnelly, who's the starting pitcher in this game. As that was bounced in the dirt. Set it toward getting a new, fresh baseball. Only 3 hits for Roxbury so far this afternoon. Their offense has been held in check. This is an offense that averages 6 runs per game this season. Pitch missing low to the outside. Full count at 3-2. As Paul tries to become a 1-out base runner. We'll chop that one, though, and it's going to be coming in to make the play as Kim from second base tosses over in time. Bradley Lee tried to venture over to see if he could make the play off the pitching mound, but he could not. The ball got past him, so the only one who could potentially make a play was his second baseman, Stephen Kim, who charged in and made the toss just in time to retire Finn Paul, and now there's 2 away with no one on base here in the top of the 5th. Beautiful breaking pitch, starting things off that time against Christos Paxos. Paxos is 0 for 1 this afternoon, grounded out to first back in the 3rd inning. One count against the 9th place hitter in the lineup. Palambit, the leadoff man, is waiting on deck if this inning can continue for the Roxbury Gales. Bradley Lee trying to do something he hasn't done all day, which is orchestrate a quick 1-2-3 inning. Lee once again gets another ground ball to once again Stephen Kim, who registers all 3 putouts in that inning. All of 4-3 variety on your scorecards. A 1-2-3 inning produced by Bradley Lee of Fort Lee. And he is scoreless through 5 innings of work here this sunny Friday afternoon. We head to the bottom of 5. It's a 6-0 lead for the Bridgemen. Fort Lee with 6 runs in this game. All 6 have come over the course of the last 2 innings. They scored 1 in the 3rd, 5 in the 4th. And they want to grow that lead even further here as we head to the bottom of the home 5th inning. The number 3 seed playing a beautiful brand of baseball this afternoon. 21-5 on the season. Just a historic spring in these parts for Fort Lee, a team that's looking for their 9th win in their last 11 and trying to punch their ticket to a sectional semifinal matchup against either Morris Knowles or Ramapo. Here's Nico Sango, who led off the last inning, and that barrage of runs all started with his leadoff double. He doubled a right center field in the last inning. Sango is 1 for 2. He also lined out to first base back in the 1st inning. That's going to be a late called strike there. Sango was trying to buy that call and trying to shift his body to kind of make it seem like it was a little too high, but instead it did drop inside the zone. That time floated a little too high by Bauman. Colin Donnelly started the game, went 3 1/3 innings of work. Robbie Bauman relieved him in the last inning. Bauman missing low in the dirt. 3-1 count in favor of the starting right fielder for Fort Lee and Nico Sango. Sango lays off that pitch and he takes it outside the zone for a leadoff walk. So Nico Sango has been on base safely now 2 out of 3 at-bats in this state playoff game. Leadoff man is on to begin the inning. 3rd time in this game that Fort Lee has had the leadoff man reach safely. 3rd walk given up by Roxbury pitching here today. Jack Dorcom has reached base safely twice. A double in the 2nd, drew a walk his last time up in the 4th. Bergen County teams occupying The top 3 seeds in this bracket. Top overall seed, Northern Valley Old Japan. The Golden Knights, who also had earned the top overall seed in this year's Bergen County tournament that was eventually won by Don Bosco Prep. A team that was shocked yesterday, being eliminated in their quarterfinals by arch-rival Bergen Catholic. So the defending non-public A state champions are done. The Bergen County champions done. Number 2 seed Ramapo. And here, Fort Lee, another Bergen County public school with the 3 seed. Dorcom ricochets that into the backstop. 2 strikes against him now. Gabe Lasval is waiting on deck. He had an RBI single that got all the fun started in that last inning. He drove in the first of what would be 5 eventual runs. And blew open this game after it was pretty much a pitching duel. It was a 1-run game through 3. Dorcom again will foul that one back. Dorcom steps back into the batter's box in the right-hand side. Dorcom elicited into a pop-up. This could be trouble for Roxbury, and that one falls around 3 different Roxbury players and will float and parachute its way into a single. And it looks like the right fielder, Olives, might have also tweaked his ankle a little bit in pursuit of that ball. He slipped and was a little slow to get back up to his feet. That one kind of shows you what type of day it's been, as Fort Lee's having things fall its way. That time it had enough air underneath it to find its way into fair territory, but not enough air to allow one of the defenders to run underneath it for a pop-up. So Jack Dorcom has reached base safely in all 3 occasions here today. A double, a walk, and now a bloop single. Ninth hit of the game for Fort Lee. Runners at first and second now with nobody out. Here's a bunt. That's a beautiful bunt. The throw over will be in time. But Lasval dropped down a beauty of a bunt, making the third baseman, Paxos, have to field it and throw only to first. It's a good sacrifice bunt that'll move the runners down to second and third base respectively, with only 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. Brings up Luke Kim. Kim is 1 for 2 and an RBI single his last time up in the bottom of the 4th. Fort Lee trying to tack on additional runs here. That'll be a strike on the inside against Kim, 0-1. Luke Kim drove in his 16th RBI of the season in that last half inning. Collected his 26th hit on the year. Again, the luxury that Coach Kraujik has in his lineup, that a player the talent of Luke Kim, the freshman, hitting here in the 9 spot of the lineup. Kim will drive that one to straightaway center field. Falco calling for it, tagging from third. Sango will make his way home without a throw, and a sacrifice fly for Luke Kim, his 2nd RBI of this playoff game, has now given Fort Lee a 7-run cushion. It's 7-0 Bridgman here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th inning. That'll turn Fort Lee back to the top of the order, and Stephen Kim. Stephen is hitless in this game. He's 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts. And Stephen coming into today's action, hitting .430 on the year. He and CJ Senator, each the only Bridgman who have not reached base yet in this game. It's been a well-balanced attack offensively. Ground ball down to third base. Paxos will get it over in time to end the inning. But not before Fort Lee tacks on an additional run on the sacrifice fly by Luke Kim. And that will bring us to the top of the sixth inning. A 7-run lead here for Fort Lee, trying to make it back-to-back postseason wins. Bradley Lee now with 7 runs at his disposal as we head to the top of the sixth inning. Lee has retired the last 5 hitters he's faced in order in this game, including all 3 in a row in the last inning of ground balls down to second base. Leadoff man is Palambit. I think he might have been trying to take a little stroll down to first base, but he was told he was not hit on the play. Palambit was hit by a pitch his last time up in the third, also struck out swinging in the first inning. Palambit trying to force a rally here. Roxbury needs base runners. And 4 straight outside the strike zone by Bradley Lee, so he loses Palambit to a leadoff walk to begin the top of the 6th inning. That's the last thing that you want if you're Fort Lee. You lead by 7. You don't want to issue the free passes. Make Roxbury earn their way on with base hits. That was the first walk surrendered all game long by Bradley Lee. He's hit 2 batters and struck out 5 without allowing a run. He's only given up 3 base hits so far here today. Ryan Parker, the first baseman, will step in. He's 0 for 2. And another pitch outside the zone for Lee. That's now 5 straight outside the strike zone. That time he refigures where his accuracy is to get the strike and make it 1-1. 1-1 breaking pitch, missed inside with a ball, 2-1. That one is hit into the backstop as Senator will field it and give it back to his pitcher. Wonderful game so far for Bradley Lee. Only time he was really in trouble was in that second inning. Roxbury had a couple of base hits in that inning, but then were thrown out trying to advance on a base hit from second to third base. committed that cardinal sin of making the last out of an inning at third base, and since then they've been relatively quiet. 2-2. It's a rocket shot. Goes across the way into someone's yard, and that will be once again 2-2. Michael Paxos, the third baseman, waiting on deck as the next hitter after Parker's at-bat has been completed. 2-2. Breaking pitch, missing low, and now the count runs full at 3-2. And remember earlier in this game when Roxbury had a long marathon of an at-bat of over 10 pitches just against Bradley Lee. Moved up his pitch count as he's starting to fade here a little bit. And he misses now high, ball 4, and he's walked the first 2 batters that he has faced here in the 6th inning. Perfect way for Roxbury to try to come back into this game with back-to-back walks. And now there's a meeting on the mound for Fort Lee. They want to see if Bradley has a little left in the tank here. With runners at first and second, nobody out as you're watching all the playoff action here in North 1 Group 3 on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. So Coach Peter Kraujic was talking things over with his side. Bradley Lee has gotten his marching orders. And he's taking on the third baseman, Michael Paxos. Paxos was hit by a pitch in his first at-bat in the first inning, struck out looking in the third. 1-0 count. Accuracy has betrayed Bradley Lee here in the 6th. Has given up back-to-back walks, cannot afford to keep that walk train going here. Paxos fouls that into the backstop, and now it's quickly a 1-2 count, and Lee ahead of the count here. Looking to produce what would be his first out of the 6th inning. And the 1-2, and that's fouled in the catcher's mitt, and that is strike 3 swinging. Senator held on as Paxos went around. 6th strikeout of the game for Bradley Lee, and there's one away with runners still at first and second here in the 6th inning. Brings up the left fielder, Jared Haupt. Haupt had a bunt single his last time up. And now there's a time here as Senator being looked at by Coach Kraujic as well as Tom Herr, the trainer here at Fort Lee High School. Might have been motioning to something. Maybe the ball got up right around his neck. And they want to check in on the star player for Fort Lee, make sure that he is okay and good to continue in this game. Roxbury, no runs on 3 hits in this game. Fort Lee, 7 runs on 9 hits. The Bats have come alive in this one after being held in check to only 2 runs in their opening round win. As again, the trainer and coaches taking a looking at Senator. Again, we'd like to take this time to thank all of our proud sponsors of our broadcast coverage of Fort Lee Athletics all season long and also all school year long. Fort Lee PBA, Cafaso's Fairway Market, the finest construction, Fort Lee Soccer Club, Rusin and Daru Electric, Bridgman Basketball Camp, Fort Lee VFW, Visions Federal Credit Union, It's Greek to me. Connect One Bank, Bergen Black Sox, Senator Builders, UCS Strength and Speed, the Collective Salon, and the Fort Lee Education Association. So Luke Senator is okay, and we will resume play. And that time, Lee plunked another batter. That is the third batter that he has hit in this game. And now, with one out on the top of the sixth, the bases are loaded. Trouble on the horizon here for Bradley Lee. He's pitching with a 7-run cushion to work with, but things can get a little scary very quickly here with the bases loaded. There's a breaking pitch for a strike against Falco, the starting center fielder. Falco has been a strikeout victim in both of his previous 2 at-bats in this game, 0 for 2. Falco, ground ball down to third, on to third for 1. And the fake throw, and it looks like that will allow Roxbury to score their first run of the game. Dorcom decided to go to the third base bag rather than go home for what would have been a force out. And he surrenders the run, so Roxbury gets on the board, but now there's runners at first and second, but with 2 away. Falco delivers the first RBI of this game. Luca Argenziano will step in. He's 1 for 2, had a single back in the second inning and then hit into a double play his last time up. That was the one where it floated up and over and the shortstop made the catch and then threw it back in after the runner had ventured way too far off the first base bag. That throw got away, and that will allow Roxbury to have the lead runner go down to third. So runners at the corners, but with 2 outs. Looping curveball, missed outside the zone. 1-1. Fort Lee really trying to hope that Bradley Lee can get them through this 6th inning and then maybe think about bringing in another pitcher for the next inning. Trying to finish this one off. Lee ahead of the count, 1-2. 1 strike away from just limiting the damage to 1 lone run here in the bottom of the 6th inning. The top of the 6th inning, excuse me. Beautiful weather, big time baseball. Sizable crowd here at the Sugarman Sports Complex. Thank you for joining us wherever you may be. That ground ball chases away a couple of the Fort Lee players who are lined up to the side of their own dugout area. Argenziano will step in, facing a 1-2 count against him. Late swing, but still makes contact, fouls it away, and stays alive in this at-bat. The 1-2. Skimmed low in the dirt, taken outside, 2-2. While Roxbury has scored a run in this inning, they have not produced a hit yet. And that's lost in the dirt, and that will be ball 4. And once again, Lee is limping his way to the finish line, and once again, it's bases loaded, but with 2 outs now in this inning. 3rd walk surrendered in this top of the 6th inning. All 3 of the walks that Lee has given up in this entire game. Brings up number 12, Nicholas Olives. Ground ball down to second, and taking it the short route to the second base bag is Stephen Kim. And that will retire the side. So Roxbury pushes through their first run of the game, but they'll have to settle for only one. It's going to be a 7-1 lead for Fort Lee as we head to the bottom of the 6th here on YouTube. Seven-1 lead for Fort Lee. As the Bridgman getting ready to hit here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Michael Paxos is now the new pitcher. Third Gale pitcher of the afternoon. Donnelly started, Bauman relieved him, and now Paxos, who began this game as the starting third baseman, will take some throws here. He's got a 4.94 ERA on the season, has pitched 22 2/3 innings of work, allowed 34 hits, 16 earned runs on the year. Walks have been a problem for him. He has given up 30 walks while striking out only 7. Senior taking on Luke Senator. Luke got hit by a pitch in his first at-bat in the first inning, grounded out to short in the third, delivered an RBI single to left field his last time up in the 4th inning. Full count now to Luke. As Luke Senator hoping to extend his high school career with a win here today and bring his team to rarefied air, as that's a swing and a miss, and that is going to be strike 3. A rare strikeout of Luke Senator this season. Paxos with some nice movement outside the zone at the end. And there's one out to begin the bottom of the 6th inning. 8th strikeout produced by Gale pitching. Again, a win would send Fort Lee to the sectional semifinals. It's been a while since they even picked up one playoff win. I could not even find with the records online when the last time it was that Fort Lee won multiple state playoff games. The last time they made it to this round was in 2012, and they lost by 1 run to Lyndhurst. In a good position here to maybe advance to the semifinals, and if they have to lock horns with Ramapo, take on one of the better public school teams in all of Bergen County. But if they have to face Morris Knowles, they'd be right back here for another home game. As Chris Kim settles in, Kim is 2 for 3 in this game, including a home run that got Fort Lee a lead back in the 3rd inning. He hit that solo shot, his first of his senior season, to straightaway center field. Some activity down the line in the Fort Lee bullpen. We'd have to think that Bradley Lee's afternoon is done through 6 innings, giving up that 1 run. This one is driven, and that's going to be a base hit right in front of the left fielder, and it gets away from the left fielder and rolls all the way to the fence. That's going to lead to extra bases here for Kim. Chris Kim will get into third base safely. That should have been, at most, just a simple single for Kim, but the misplay in left field allowed the ball to roll all the way to the fence, and that allowed Kim to make his way all the way down to third base. Man on third with only 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Kim's 3rd hit of the day. That'll bring up Jacob Greenberg. Jacob, last time up, delivered an RBI triple in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 2 with a walk here today. As Paxos missing to the outside against Greenberg. Ahead of the count now, 1-2. That one just ruled to be a little low and outside the zone. 2-2 count. Fort Lee now up to 10 hits in this game. Chris Kim with 3 of the 10 hits himself. Big afternoon, and if his bat gets going, this is going to be a very tough team to contend with for the remainder of this postseason. And that's going to be another strikeout produced by Paxos as he retires Greenberg. 2 away here with a runner down at third. Strikeout number 2 since coming into this game by Michael Paxos. CJ Senator steps in. Senator trying to avoid the golden sombrero today. He has 3 strikeouts. He's 0 for 3. Paxos missing on the outside, 1-1. Fort Lee with a run in the 3rd, 5 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th. Roxbury struck for their first run in the top of this 6th inning. Pitch bounced in the dirt. 2-1. Kim standing down on the third base bag. Not that much of a lead at all to speak of. Fort Lee has already scored a run in this game on a wild pitch that went to the backstop. Nice breaking pitch that time by Paxos as he went to the curve. Evens the count at 2-2. Again, we'd like to thank everybody for their constant support of these Fort Lee student athletes throughout the course of this entire school year, as well as if you're a visitor to our broadcasts and cheering for opponents, we thank you for coming and supporting the broadcast as well. And striking out the side is Paxos as he freezes the batter there for a called 3rd strike. That'll send us to the top of the 7th inning. Fort Lee 3 outs away from punching their ticket to play in the sectional semifinals. The seventh inning brings us a new pitcher in the game for Fort Lee, and it will be the starting shortstop. Moving to the mound in number 20, Luke Kim. Freshman is pitching to an extraordinary 1.31 ERA this season in 16 innings of work, 12 hits surrendered, 3 runs allowed, 19 strikeouts with only 8 walks. Bradley Kim was great here this afternoon, going 6 innings, allowing only 1 run on 3 hits. He struck out 6 and he walked 3. We'll see if then Fort Lee can finish this one off. The last time that Fort Lee was able to win a sectional championship came in 1956. Last time that they made it deep in the playoff round was in 1960. So again, as I mentioned, this is rarefied air for the Bridgemen if they could advance here past Roxbury and advance to the sectional semifinals, where a matchup with Ramapo really might be looming for the Bridgemen. Roxbury's magical run here can come to an end if they don't rally, trying to go for their 15th win of the season. They're 14-11. They will have the 8, 9, and 1 hitters due up here in this inning. The first pitch by Luke Kim is the outside, missing for a ball. Kim has fallen behind 2-0, and something that he has not done this season in his relief duties is walk batters. Again, 19 strikeouts with only 8 walks. But as I say that, he's missed on his first 3 offerings outside the zone. And again, with a team that is enjoying a 6-run lead to work with, just throw strikes. You don't want to play with fate here. And all 4 have been outside the strike zone, and that is an easy walk earned by Finn Paul. So the leadoff man is on once again here for Roxbury. Fort Lee had not walked a single batter through the first 5 innings of this game, but now counting that one, the last 2 innings, they've walked 4. 3 were walked in the last inning, and now 1 to start off this top of the 7th. Brings up the 9th place hitter, Christos Paxos. The second baseman is 0 for 2 with a pair of groundouts. And Kim missing low to the outside. He has now missed on his first 5 balls outside of the zone. And finally now, a strike is thrown by Luke Kim after 5 in a row outside. That evens the count at 1-1 against Christos Paxos. Breaking pitch, missing low, 2-1. Fort Lee's only 2 losses over the course of their last 10 games, where they've gone 8-2. They lost a heartbreaker against Passaic Tech, a team that at one point had won about 21 games in a row. Teams who were the runners-up in the Passaic County tournament. And then they also lost in the Bergen County tournament against St. Joseph Regional, a team that went all the way to the county semifinals. 3-1 count now against Paxos. And missing outside, ball 4, and quite frankly, Luke Kim has not been close with these pitches. He has walked the first 2 batters that he has faced. Now it's a little bit of a concern here for Coach Krawczyk. First 2 runners have reached safely to begin the top of the 7th for Roxbury, and he wants pitchers who can throw strikes. You don't want to have to burn another arm if you don't have to, and have so many different people available to you to go into that semifinal game in the next round. But you have to also make sure that you get there in the first place, and this is what Roxbury would hope for. How you engineer a comeback, you got to get base runners on, and then from there, try to convert. You don't have to swing the bat, don't have to. You don't need to. So we'll see after that talk if things have been straightened out a little bit for the relief pitcher. First pitch is a strike, so that's a good start. 0-1 count. Palambit, the catcher, who is the leadoff man for Roxbury. And quickly he fouls it backwards, and he's behind 0-2. Palambit struck out swinging to begin the game in the first inning, got hit by a pitch in the third, and last time up drew a walk to lead off the 6th inning. Ground ball down to short, on to first for 1, on to second for 1, on to first, not in time. So the runner is out at second base. It's going to be runners at the corners, but with 1 out here in the top of the 7th, Fort Lee is going to be fine with trading an opportunity there for an out to just pull to within 2 more outs of procuring this victory. Brings up Ryan Parker. Parker takes that in for a strike, 0-1. Parker struck out swinging in the first, grounded out to third in the 3rd inning, and then also drew a walk his last time up in the 6th. Sun shining brightly right now. 1-1 count after that pitch was taken low outside the zone. Again, Roxbury has had a lot of traffic on the base paths in the last 2 innings, yet they still have not produced a hit since a bunt single in the 4th inning. They have 3 total hits in this game. 1-2 count. Luke Kim staring in, and just getting a piece of that is Parker to stay alive. Pitch taken low, good eye of the plate that time by Parker. Again, Roxbury came into this game having won their first state playoff game in a couple of years since they last won after defeating Wayne Valley in the first round of the 2024 playoffs. They then would go on to lose a 1-run game against Wayne Hills in the quarterfinals. And there is strike three called on the outside corner on a full count. Too close to take that time, and that is going to be the first strikeout produced by Luke Kim here today. His 20th strikeout of the season, and Roxbury is down to their final out of the ballgame. 7 strikeout for Fort Lee pitching here this afternoon. That'll bring up Michael Paxos. Paxos drives that one. That's going to be a base hit. That's going to plate home a run. Second run of the game here for Roxbury, and an RBI double here by Michael Paxos, his first hit of the ball game, 4th hit of the day for the Gales, and they're back to within 5 runs. First extra base hit of the game for Roxbury after they had 3 singles before that. Now fastball strike right around the knees against Jared Haupt. Haupt at a bunt single, got hit by a pitch and also grounded out to second base. That one is ricocheted, and now Roxbury is down to their final strike of the game. Fort Lee trying to win and punch their ticket to the semifinal round, something they haven't done since the early 1960s. Laying off that pitch in the dirt, runners still staying at second and third base. Kim looking for the final touches of this one. Kim's delivery. That is grounded, but foul to the right side of the first base line. One run home here in the top of the 7th. And that pitch taken too high. Some of the patrons behind home plate upset that that wasn't strike 3, and game over. 2-2 count now here for Roxbury. That one is grounded down to Stephen Kim. Kim will toss it over, and tagging the base for the final out of the game, Fort Lee will win and will advance to play in the North 1 Group 3 semifinals after defeating Roxbury by a final score of 7-2. Fort Lee will finish off with a 22-5 record after that win here today, and they will have a chance at win number 23, waiting against either Morris Knolls or Ramapo. If it's against Ramapo, that game will be in Franklin Lakes at the home of the Raiders, or if it's Morris Knolls, that game, the semifinals, will be played here at the Sugarman Sports Complex. Roxbury finishes off a solid season, 14-12 on the year with a defeat. And again, Fort Lee goes to an impressive 22-5, one of the best seasons in high school history here at Fort Lee High School, as they're having their dreams set on possibly bringing home their first sectional baseball championship since 1956. So that'll do it for our broadcast coverage here of Fort Lee baseball. We'd like to thank our proud presenting sponsors of all this broadcast coverage: the Fort Lee PBA, Cafaso's Fairway Market, the Finest Construction, Fort Lee Soccer Club, Roosin and DeRue Electric, Bridgman Basketball Camp, the Fort Lee VFW, Visions Federal Credit Union, It's Greek to Me, Connect One Bank, Bergen Black Sox, Senator Builders, UCS Strength and Speed, the Collective Salon, and the Fort Lee Education Association. So for our producer, Dimitri Nanis, I'm Dan Long saying so long, take care, and we'll see you next time here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel.